Yeah.
I can't find one. Menard was my last shot. But if you want to put out the invite, let's see if we can find anyone. I can't really get anything going with you. I don't find reacting to content interesting. It's like boring, you know what I mean? By myself.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do get that.
So can I go on Judge Napolitano? I got his eye thing now. Welcome, my good friend. Is Baby Netanyahu serious? Who runs foreign policy? Thank you, my good friend.
Dun, 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 dun.
Or fine. Females too. Fine. Maybe you can talk to someone. Open panel.
Zelensky is losing the war. Is that correct? Well, I really think that when you look at it from the objective political standpoint...
I've got a Mearsheimer quote. What's his quote? I don't think there's any serious argument for that. I just don't think there's any serious argument for that.
Very niche reference. Grace on Kings doesn't make any sense because it's...
So, I just don't know. I really don't know with the thorps. Because you would think that at their final moments, right? After the weekend and everything that happened, right? You know, they would at least take a moment, maybe a couple of days break, and at least reevaluate. I'm saying that wrong. It is pretty late as I'm recording it. Their life decision up to now, and at this point, I don't know what else that could be done or be done. It is a miracle that they're still being covered, right? I mean, like Ruby's covering them. I'm kind of covering them. Dalmatian Dog, it's covering them. It's an interesting position, right? And I really don't know how long they can sustain this, right? Like look at the next clip.
I'm playing with him.
Yeah.
Even though the best thing for a tennis player is to play someone who's better than you.
Right. We did get a $2 Venmo, not for TTS. Happy Tuesday, gooning for the Snow Bunny again. You all watch Breaking Banquet videos? Thank you. Yeah, we watch them sometimes. Yeah, pretty well done, pretty well edited.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Say my name.
Breaking
Breaking
Banquet.
Banquet.
You're goddamn right.
All right, Grace.
Mark Fusion is settling details on the Abyssinia restaurant interview.
Okay.
What if you wanted to do it tonight? Would you do that for Kings?
Sure. If I'm awake. We're real crackheads these days.
True.
Like, what do we get? Like 4 hours of sleep at night?
Something like that.
And then take a nap in the afternoon.
TTS is on. I turned it off.
Anyways, we just wanted to tell you the exciting news. I've got a new local gay friend who wants to come on and do a show. And Mark Fusion is going to have a good run back.
Like, they're just tired inside. Like, they've been defeated, and they've been, like, streaming throughout Tuesday, right? That first clip was early on the day. The second clip was a little bit after that, right? So they've been, like, throughout this video, you're going to see that they've been streaming throughout the day. Rather than one long stream, they just been they just been streaming whenever they felt like it, and it feels like they're just tired, right? they said they only got 4 hours of sleep, and that's not good, especially if you're streaming and you're known for streaming long period of time. That could be mentally exhausting, and getting at least more than 4 hours of sleep must be very important. If not, it is important. And again, you would think at the Menard they would at least take a bit of a break, right? They were supposed to do a King sale on Tuesday, that they just never did. And it could just be that they just defeated at this point. Like, the stuff they were covering was just like okay, whatever.
It sucks.
Different colors.
It's super gay.
The problem with it is, like, you say, like, so you went out, or like you went on Amazon, obviously, and said, like, well, what about orange on the bottom and blue on the top? And it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But also, you did that. Your wife didn't do that. Your girlfriend didn't do that.
Yeah.
You did that as part of what you're doing here. And it's just pathetic to imagine doing that.
I do think, John Frederick, the silver plate is Masonic. Masonic? Doesn't it?
Let's go.
It looks Masonic.
Yeah.
It's Masonic.
Yeah.
Oh, he dipped.
Regardless of whether you thought
We A-logged him off the panel.
Oh, do you freak XD says, that shelf sucks. I have a thing about that, because, like, here you are. This is who you are on the internet. You have yourself, your face, the shirt you wear, and then what you're doing in the background.
Yeah.
And, like, it tells you a lot about a person, especially when it looks like they tried, which clearly, like, that shelf doesn't look like it really makes sense on the wall. You know what I'm saying?
No.
What do you mean, no?
It doesn't look... I don't know how the shelf...
I said, do you know what I'm saying? And you said no.
I don't know what you mean by that, no.
Oh, okay, because, like, I don't know, a shelf, like, it just looks like it's there because it would fit in his background. Not so much it's there because it makes sense to be there, like, in that room.
Can we look at the bigger picture again? Let me see.
Guess so. I mean, it could be, but...
Here?
It could be, but it just seems weird. I don't know. It's not like against a wall in a corner. You know what I mean? It's just sort of, well, whatever. I think he put it there because, like, he wants this. He tweaked it. You know what I mean? So he wants, like, that there and the, like.
Oh, he's got more LED lighting. Look at this fake kind of twig thing, and he's got more blue.
Right, which is weird because it makes it look like you'd like it to be like.
Like, this clip was much later on Tuesday into more of the night, and you could just tell this band is just rambling, just saying whatever comes to his mind, covering these guys, right? You can tell that Ben doesn't really want to cover them, and Grace does not care. Grace just physically and mentally does not care what's going on the screen, does not care what's happening, right? When you compare that to the, her contemporaries, like, let's say Ruby or Ava, at least they're more focused. They have more of an interest in what they're covering, right? Grace does not. Grace and Ben, they just don't have any interest. And those 3 clips I just shown, they just don't care. And they're not even streaming for that long. I believe each individual clip come from, like, at least 1 hour stream throughout the day. Mind you, the thorps are known to sometimes stream for, like, hours, right? Especially when they're doing IRL stuff, they stream for hours on end. But it's pretty bad, right? It's like, damn, what happened to these guys?
Strange.
In the bathroom.
I don't know. She went and took a shower, walked out of the shower into her room, totally naked.
Right.
Not even like a towel.
That's crazy. Knowing you would see her.
Yeah. Well, I was right there. So, it was weird.
So, you get the clue. Something wrong with this person.
Yeah. At the time, I was like, okay, she's like a Seattle lesbian. Maybe she's like a nudist kind of person.
Well, what I'm saying is if you say, I just met up with a stranger that I knew from the internet. It was sexually weird. Well, I mean, obviously, don't do things that are sexually weird. Just be conservative so the person can get a break. If you care, if you're normal, but if you're crazy and you want to do more of the same stuff, then you do that.
Yeah, I would say it's weird.
Well, do you think the Jeremy thing was weird? Saying like, okay, you had a tough time with Darius, come be with me, and I'll totally not do any of that stuff, and then he starts doing it. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, if Jeremy had walked out of his shower naked into my room, I would have called the police.
Into your room?
The room that he gave me to sleep in.
She didn't walk into your room. She walked into her room, right? Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is the room that I was in, I guess is what
Grace,
I'm saying.
I don't understand what you're talking about. It's obviously it's apples and oranges. A guy and a female.
Right. I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm just saying, yeah, it was weird what
But if
Jeremy
I was
did.
saying I had a weird kind of sexual experience, and then I go hang out with a dude, and he comes out commando from the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that big of a deal, but like it's kind of like why do you have to do that, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's not very like it's not treating you like a person, it's treating you like well, I'm trying to not the normal sense of
Yeah. It's off.
it'd be weird in any circumstance, but especially off in that circumstance. And I remember you told me about it. And I was like, oh, maybe she's some kind of weird lesbian predator. And you're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's because that's the vibe she was giving you.
Yeah. Right. So it was weird, yeah. It was strange.
So what I'm saying is, let's look at this person.
Let's check her out.
She also put us in a dangerous situation with a totally innocent gay man who was twice trolled into like being in a very weird situation by her, a total stranger, put in situations in which, you know, someone could have gotten really hurt or confused. And she thinks it's funny because she's a fucking asshole.
Is this a fake account? He's from Seattle? No way. He's still trying to do musician. Yeah, this seems like it might actually be him.
Can we look at her chat too or no?
Yeah.
All right, now
This is all
she's
6
reviewing
hours ago?
Cyrax.
So did he like just make a new account?
Yeah.
Okay, and
No friends. One photo.
the whole thing here is like, her whole thing is like, I'm morally concerned and I need to tell the world that this person, supposedly, right?
Supposedly.
That this person is dangerous. Why she's appointed herself to do that, I have no idea.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
But-
well, this was the fucking tail end. We finished it off.
Doing that with Cyrax,
Oh
like,
my God, it's been a long
are you telling me that everyone doesn't know that Cyrax is like just obviously someone who's like not got it all together? What do we
Everybody
need
knows
her
that.
to? Right? Yeah. I mean, he's like sitting there and trashing a retarded person who's like obviously got like deep mental, physical. I mean, how like what a loser do you have to be to do that? Right?
Yeah,
and even trolls will say like, yeah, like Cyrax trolls are the absolute bottom of the barrel. So here we're looking at someone who feels like Cyrax, and she kind of looks like Cyrax too, to be honest.
A bit.
There's a you know, significant resemblance in her personality. She's an insecure, but yet she's sort of like going to show you like, hey, I'm better than Cyrax. Who the fuck would ever say that? Like,
Only someone with very deep insecurities.
yeah, really
mean,
a mean-spirited
Cyrax-
person.
He's basically disabled. It's like bullying a retarded person.
More than that, bullying someone who's obviously been abused.
Yeah.
Someone who's obviously physically like really, really handicapped. Someone who is like mentally extremely limited.
Yeah.
and you're going to go bully them to feel better about yourself. What are you? The worst kind of fucking pig on the planet.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
And, you know, she's going to go take a trip with Lola, who I don't think is like that.
Yeah.
She may be like a little bit of a bullshit artist that she's like above everything, but I think she finds the stuff disgusting. Who wouldn't? And Ruby, who, whatever her flaws, is, I don't think, inclined to go like Cyrax bashing.
No, I don't think so.
I just don't think that's her inclination. She has higher regard for herself than that. But, you know, when you put yourself around someone like this and they get insecure, they're going to lash out. And if Ruby and Lola don't think that she'd lash out at them, they're mistaken.
Well, remember, Ava literally lashed out at Ruby. If you remember, when we were going to go meet up with Ava in Provincetown, remember? She was like visiting her family or something.
Yeah.
And she was lying to us, but she told Ruby privately, I'm not meeting up with them. So Ruby didn't tell us that Ava wasn't going to meet up.
Like, even here, this long clip that wasn't meant to be a long clip, but I kind of let it go on a little bit longer because I just kind of mentally blocked of what they were trying to say. You can tell that Grace doesn't even care, doesn't even want to pick a fight with Ava. Like, she's just like, Ava's doing her own thing. She's covering all of these people. She's like, okay. And then maybe she'll casually say something, bring up something that happened with like Jeremy, right? Bring up the past with Ava, but it's like, whatever. I kind of, you can tell that they're just burnt. They're just tired. They're just exhausted. They just don't care. And I don't even know what to call this. You can even say that this is the beginning of the end, right? The beginning of the burnout arc, where they're just completely burnt out from everything. They just don't care. They do what they do, right? And I think one of the reasons is why, you know, when you look even like at their Kick viewership and everything, even their YouTube. I mean, their YouTube stuff, they get high views, but on Kick, it's a little low. I think it has to do with just people want more of the IRL stuff. And like, they live in a state right now where it's pretty warm. They can do IRL stuff, but there's, even then, they don't even want to do that. Like, even if Grace decides to, like, I'm just going to take a couple, you know, I'm just going to walk outside, travel around the city. You know, I think if Grace did something like that, right? She traveled around the city for 4 or 5 hours. Even if nothing is happening, she would at least be more happy, more excited than whatever the hell they're trying to do now. Like, they're just throwing shit at the wall and it's sliding down and it's not sticking. And every time they try to do something, every time they try to, you know, try to make a stream, it barely lasts an hour or two at the most. And when it does last like 2 hours, they have to force themselves. And Grace just doesn't care. She's just like, okay, we can do this. You know, I don't even know what else could be said that hasn't been said. I mean, if you want a more in-depth opinion on the thorps, and especially somebody, you know, especially when you're, you know, especially if someone who's closer to them, watch Dalmatian Dog on lolcowreject. Link in the description somewhere around here. I'll probably put a link to the channel. He does a better job in dissecting the thorps because he's known them for a long time. He's known the thorps for a very long time. So I think his view on them hit home harder than probably more than mine, 100%. I think the only one that comes closer is probably Ruby. And then it kind of goes down from there, and then eventually you hit me somewhere in the like very bottom, right? Just because like I think Dalmatian and Ruby, when they cover the dwarfs, they do a better job because they have more connection. Where I feel like, you know, in the case of Ruby was more like trying to be a real genuine friend with Grace. But I guess I'm gonna keep covering the thorps. I guess so that's something I can do for the meantime. Till then, God bless. If this ever